Welcome back, folks, to you sports heads, to another great edition of Comin In Klutch Sports Podcast every Monday night, 6:30 to 7:30 on the Eric B Media platform. Welcome once again. And, of course, as always, the podcast is being sponsored by the folks at Troy City Mortgage and, of course, their partners over at the Walsh Title and Closing, working together to bring you the best home buying experience. Troy City Mortgage, the best place to get a mortgage in Massachusetts and Rhode Island, led by the great David Pereira. The team at Troy City Mortgage have local roots, deep knowledge, and expert solutions to get you the best, the absolute best mortgage possible. Give them a call at 508-207-5864. That's 508-207-5864. And the great folks at Walsh Title and Closing, very important documents needed for your closing. They can be reached at 508-858-5725. And that's 508-858-5725. Colby, good evening.
Nelly.
What's happening, kid?
Another week, baby.
Another week. We're still here. We'll keep saying that until we get fired. So we're going to keep rolling. It hasn't happened yet. We're going on a tremendous win streak, almost like the Patriots did in 03 and 04. So we are cruising along. So everything is hunky-dory. A lot to talk about. And we're going to get started here in a little bit with the opening vent, as we always do, folks. Our number here, 508-974-3040, 3040. For those of you who need the number said singularly, 508-974-3040. We accept your phone calls. You can tell us how much we stink. You can tell us how great we are. Or you can just talk about anything related to sports. I cannot tell you how to circumvent yourself from not paying taxes. I cannot do that legally. But other than that, you're free to call, and we welcome your phone calls, of course. Opening event, Cole, being brought to you by who?
Core Nutrition.
Yes, sir.
Located at 25 Market Street in Swansea, Mass.
Mm-hmm.
Again, same spiel every week. That is my breakfast of choice, especially with spring and summer coming, everyone trying to get that beach bod.
That's right.
Best Herbalife shakes around. So definitely go check out Anna and the crew, and they'll definitely take care of you.
And there you have it, folks. In the opening event is also being brought to you by Title Town Trucking, Truckloader Champions. Give them a call and look them up for your trucking needs. So our opening event is always quick and down and dirty, and I'm going to go first because Kobe says I could. And so it starts with me rocking on 98.5 The Sports Hub. So I'm going to come out right out and tell you 98.5 The Sports Hub. I don't understand the misconception that you have, always trying to criticize everything that New England sports does. Nothing's ever good enough. There's major issues, and it starts really with a two-factor thing for me. So the big news, obviously, was Deshaun Watson getting guaranteed money at the end of 238 million biggies. And this is guaranteed money, which is not really something that the NFL really does. And my concern is not his contract, though I think it's outrageous. It's the fact that the folks on 98.5 The Sports Hub want to now say that it was not a great idea for the Cleveland Browns to do that, and that the contract and the guaranteed money, how it was not something that made a lot of sense. First of all, I think it was the same channel, correct me if I'm wrong, that was ready to give up Mac Jones for Deshaun Watson. If you think Deshaun Watson was going to come here for half of that, you're crazy. He wanted $238 million, whether he went to Cincinnati, Atlanta, Jacksonville, Tennessee, wherever.
And Belichick wasn't going to give him $200
No way. Are you nuts?
Everyone seems to forget about that.
So now it wasn't a good idea, but some of you wanted to get rid of Mac Jones, who was, again, a guy that's up and coming, young. We'll see. When I say up and coming, it looks like he's serviceable. Let's see what happens. And all of a sudden, they're upset. And these are guys that are getting paid a lot of money, folks, to listen to them. That's why stop listening to them. Start listening to us. We'll give you that low down and dirty of exactly what's going on here. 508-974-3040. Second part of my event is the blockbuster move, the one move that the Buffalo Bills made. Von Miller. And we are getting crapped on because of Von Miller going to the Bills. And how can the Patriots not do that? Let me tell you about Von Miller. So, Von Miller gets 120 million big ones, 56 guaranteed.
It's a lot of money.
Here's his numbers the last 8 years. Ready for this?
Let's go.
On average, He gets 60 tackles. This is combo tackles, not solos. And he gets about 10 sacks a year. Good player.
Definitely.
I am not saying to use a bum. But these boneheads on 98.5 The Sports Hub have consistently told me that the defense needs to get younger.
Correct.
And why would they pay the Patriots for a 32-year-old guy who does the exact same statistics as you know who? You know who has those statistics?
I'm going to take a guess that it was someone that we just signed last.
Someone that we just signed for half the money. Matt Judon, on average, gets 60 tackles and 10 sacks. And you know what he costs? $60 million. Not guaranteed.
Half the price.
Half of that. Why would I pay you double for the same production? Why? So I know that, those guys are idiots. The Bills are so ahead. Have you seen the arm of Josh Allen? That guy's a winner. Listen to me. He was a bum 4 years ago and 3 years ago. And he's had 2 good years. Yes, solid years. And the Bills are kind of putting their chips in, just like the Patriots did last year. Now, if you're going to tell me that Von Miller's 25 years old and he's had 100 tackles and high teens like some of the great ones have done, maybe we're talking.
But he also fizzled out a little bit towards the end in Denver.
Yeah, he kind of
Think about
smoked out.
that. Denver traded him because he wasn't the same. Von
Exactly. He was excellent and a very good team that won the championship. Kudos was, but this is not a Von Miller problem. I am not hitting on Von Miller.
Yes.
Let me make that very clear. I think Von Miller is a good player. He's a fun player. He has kind of a certain charisma and a certain kind of attitude. It's fine. My point is that the local fans, you need to start waking up and doing your research and understanding that not every player is going to be a blockbuster move that the Patriots have to do, especially in a situation where they just signed a guy that is 6-7 years younger than him and is putting up the same kind of production. Why would they pay double for that same position?
Just think they could go out and get Hightower again, right? And Hightower's, I think he's the same age or maybe a little older than Von Miller.
Right. And I don't think he's done particularly well the last couple of years. But my point is, right, it's a lot of money.
They're clearly trying to go younger.
Exactly. So we're going to go get a 30-year-old. So it doesn't make any sense. So 98.5 The Sports Hub, you're a bunch of frauds. You guys go on the radio, you make 7 figures a year, and you talk out of your ass. So stop talking out of your butt. Stop influencing folks who are listening to you, because I've now stopped listening to you more so than not. But I do it just for the simple fact of coming on my podcast and talk about you. So stop being a bonehead and figure it out, because every time something happens and the New England teams are not involved, the New England teams stink. Do you understand that Boston has been the most predominant team sitting in the last 20 years and winning championships? Look at my hats! Morons! That's all I got for my opening event. You're up, Cole.
So my opening event is brought to you by DJ Classic.
Yeah.
Again, a bunch of parties coming up this summer. You can book DJ Classic at bookdjclassic@yahoo.com.
Yep.
And to piggyback off you,
Please do. Please.
I'm going to go after those same assholes at 98.5 The Sports Hub.
98.5 The Sports Hub.
So, yes, I was a little down, and my opening event was going to be about the Red Sox coming in here because clearly they haven't, they didn't wake up
right.
until yesterday.
You're correct.
So everyone knows that they signed Trevor Story to a 6-year deal.
Yep.
So automatically, because they signed Trevor Story, that means Xander Bogaerts is no longer going to be a part of the Boston Red Sox.
Yeah, automatically gone.
So if you look at this contract that Story signed, he's only making $23 million. Yeah, I know, 23, only 23.
In the grand scheme of things,
but it's a reasonable contract, okay?
Yep.
And clearly he knew he was going to play second base, okay?
Mm-hmm.
He knew this before he signed that contract, and obviously he agreed to play second base.
Can we agree that in the Bogarts will probably be here for the next 12 months?
Correct.
At least on the next 12. Okay.
So these assholes today want to talk and say that, oh, yeah, they signed Trevor Story, but that means Xander's gone.
Yep.
I don't know if I like the signing. How about you just shut the hell up, okay? Enjoy this team, because this team was close to winning a championship last year.
Yeah, they were.
Okay? And I highly doubt Xander Bogaerts is going to go anywhere. Think about it. You have Trevor Story at second base, and now you have Xander at shortstop.
Nasty infield.
That is going to be one of the nastiest infields in the league, okay?
Yeah.
In Bogaerts, last time he was eligible to become a free agent, he re-signed before he even hit free agency.
He's not Mookie Betts.
Okay?
His attitude.
He likes being here.
He does.
And newsflash for you people out there, him and Cora were the biggest advocates for Story to come here.
Exactly.
Okay? Bogaerts isn't going anywhere. Okay?
I don't think so either.
So
at least not for the next 12 months.
So let's stop pushing him out the door.
Already.
Okay?
Already. Yeah. So there you have it, folks. 508-974-3040. Coming in hot. It is a fine March day. A little chilly out there, but it was gorgeous the rest of the day. We do have a special guest coming on. So stick around, folks, for that. We're looking forward to speaking with him to talk about what he's looking to do. Class act guy. Spoke with him a little bit before the show started, and we'll bring him on to discuss what he's got going on. It is sports related. It's interesting. It's not what you think. So he's not. It's not Al Bundy. We will not be talking about the 4 touchdowns that he threw. What's poke high? Is that so? It won't be him. So I apologize. We're working on it. It's a work in progress. A lot of logistical issues there. But in any event, we are taking our first break. We'll come back and we'll hit some good talk, and it'll be Hoop Talk, PC, Sweet 16, baby. So don't go anywhere on the other end, and stay tuned. We'll be back. Folks, and we're back. Monday night, 6:30 to 7:30. You are viewing Comin In Klutch Sports Podcast that is on the Eric B. Media platform. And if you missed our first segment, we went into our opening event, like we always do. And I went into bashing.
You went off, baby.
I did. It's coming in hot. So it was a scorching bashing of 98.5 The Sports Hub, particularly on some of the crazy antics. And I went off in talking about my comparative analysis on the linebacker situation with Matt Judon versus Von Miller, and just in general, them being hypocrites. So that was my take. And over there on Kobe's end, he kind of continued on with that, and he brought in the Trevor Story versus Xander Bogaerts situation, and people thinking that Xander was going to be gone, even though Trevor Story is now here, but that's not really the case. I don't think that's the case. So I think we're in for a really good infield. So we are in March Madness. And for those of you who actually thought that maybe PC was a bunch of frauds, they're not. So newsflash.
Listen,
they're in the Sweet 16. So you can get your head out of your butts, and should have been betting like I told you to bet and go to Connecticut or get a prop swap. And I thought they were going to go into the Sweet 16. They were playing some really good hoop. Now, they are playing a tough team in Kansas. But, Kobe, we're in the Sweet 16, man.
Listen, we're in the Sweet 16. Listen. The one thing, this could have been another one of my events, is enough of the national media bashing the Providence Friars, okay? Listen, they're not called the Yukon Friars. They're not called the Villanova Friars, okay? They're the Providence Friars, okay? Mm-hmm. So give them some credit. Clearly, these national guys haven't watched them all year.
Nope.
Because, you got all these guys picking South Dakota State to beat them in the first round. Well, guess what? PC won that.
Highest percentage of three-pointers, in the nation.
Watch out.
Do you see what the
You know what South Dakota was?
Where do they play?
Brick City.
Yeah, where do they play? Oh, I know they play. I don't know where they play. I could care less.
The Horizon League.
Yeah. Here's what they play.
The Sun Belt League.
Here's what they play. I could give a rat's ass blow.
Yeah.
So the reality is, they stunk it up because when it matters, their sphincters got tight. And people were texting me saying, "Oh, watch out." There was one announcer, ABC guy, that had said to watch out for Providence because of their seniority. So in college hoop, even though the NCAA is extremely skewed, corrupt,
of course,
and they're going to push the product for the teams that are sexy, the Kansases, the UCLAs, the Gonzagas, the Michigans, Villanovas, UConns, etc. Duke, of course. And he had said to watch out because of the seniority that was going on. But the NCAA does not like the fact that a team like Providence goes very far.
Of course not.
But they do like the St. Peter's story.
Yeah. And
they love that story.
PC kicked St. Peter's ass this year.
Yeah, and they had that kid.
But nobody talks about that.
No. And they had the kid Edner, who didn't do much against PC. So it's very odd how they pick and choose their battles.
Of course.
The reality is this. PC had been playing some pretty solid hoop, and their record had showed that they deserved to be in the tournament. We knew that.
Of course, yes.
So they were a top 64 team.
Yes.
Realistically, they always were a top team. 11, 8, 16,
yeah, call
15.
it a top 15 if you want to.
So them being a top 16, why is that surprising? They were a top 15 across the nation, which means after you shake all the cobwebs out, PC should be in there somewhere.
And they are.
Now, I'm not going to sit there and tell you that they're going to blow out Kansas. It's Friday night?
It's Friday night, yeah.
But, I mean, I just want a respectable PC that's playing the game like they played against Richmond, which was in and out. They're playing in, they're playing out. They're finding their open shot, and they're getting Watson inside the paint. And when that baby hook is happening, it's unstoppable.
But even the last game against Richmond, Watson really didn't have his best game.
No, he didn't.
But listen, PC was shooting lights out from the three, man.
Yeah, they were banging in the three.
I mean, everybody was hitting shots.
My concern with PC, we've talked about this off the air, and this is a concern, folks, and I want to sit there and give you a little bit of a criticism. When Bynum has the ball, the guy just milks the shot clock.
And he's a little sloppy sometimes.
He's a little sloppy with his handle, and he takes forever. And they're trying to overlap each other around the perimeter, and it's 7 seconds, 5 seconds, and I think it's too much.
And then it's a forced shot.
That I don't like.
Yes.
And if they keep doing that against Kansas, it's going to be a long night. So I'm not going to sit there and tell you that they're going to out-flat beat them, but I think they're going to come out and play. I don't think PC is afraid to play against anybody. I think the leadership and the seniority and the experience plays a little bit of a factor because they don't have freshmen and sophomores that are being drafted.
You're right. And I mean, like I said, who knows what's going to happen Friday night? But again, even today already, on the hub, you got some national NCAA guy on there saying, "Oh, Providence isn't going to beat Kansas." Why not? Why not? Did you see how they played against Creighton, who's from the Big East?
Exactly. Okay? That was a close game.
Kansas almost lost that game.
They did.
Okay?
They did. It could have been a Creighton matchup.
You're right. And Kansas has always been like a wagon of a team. This year's team isn't one of their better teams.
No, they're not. It's not.
Okay? So anything's possible in the tournament.
Anything.
So I'm just sick of everyone saying, "Oh, PC's going to lose." You know what? I kind of like it because I think it's fueling them a little bit.
It is.
And think about it. They have like a week to prepare.
Yep.
They're going to be ready to go.
Yeah, I just don't want it to be too much time. I don't want to see the flatness like they came out and played when they went to the Big East, when the Big East tournament began, and they went to go and they played against it was a game that we watched. They played against they barely won. We went to watch the game. They came out of their bye week.
This is early in the season.
No. This is for the Big East tournament.
DePaul?
No. It wasn't against Creighton. It was before that. They barely beat
Butler.
It was Butler. And they came out playing a little flat, and they weren't ready. So it's not going to be that much time between the games, but it gives them time to prepare. And I really think a team like St. Peter's and these smaller teams, these smaller programs, the more they win, every round they go, their confidence gets higher. And it's not now they're playing against house money. They're playing with house money because they weren't supposed to be there anyway. And I think maybe Providence College is in that same boat. Look, if they get through Kansas, I mean, it's going to be Providence is going to explode. And I just want to be respectable. Creighton took it to them. They won by 5 points or something.
It was a really close game to the last minute and a half.
It was, right? And kind of that's what college hoop's about. Every minute counts. Every possession counts. I watched that Kentucky game, and it shows me more and more that Calipari is not a good coach. Good recruiter, terrible coach. They got out coached, outmanned, and they weren't hitting anything. And St. Peter's believed in it, and they beat him on the same play. They get Edner inside the paint. There's a little rollout. The guys are lazy, not popping out. Edner pops out, banks the three. He does it twice, and there's your ball game.
That's all it takes.
So we are obviously ecstatic about Providence College, and I think if you're fans of college hoop and you kind of tend to like support the local teams, maybe now is the time to get on that bandwagon a little bit. I mean, I don't know how much they have to really prove at this point. They got to the Sweet 16. They're here now. I mean, next week we could be talking about them having, either way, it was where I was hoping for. Anything after this, to me, is bonus. I was hoping Sweet 16, to me, top 16 team in the country, I think is how they've been playing. Anything after that, to me, would be such a gravy and a blessing, but I'm happy where they are right now.
Yeah, and I was just going to say, me being a season ticket holder now, this was my 8th year, this was probably the best team that I've seen live all year.
Yeah.
And they didn't have any superstars. They didn't have a Chris Dunn on the team.
Right.
They didn't have a David Duke on the team. But you know what? Basketball is
the best team you've seen since you've been a ticket holder.
Yeah, but basketball is a team sport.
It is.
And this team plays together, and that's all it takes. All PC needs to do is play their basketball for 40 minutes, and they have a shot.
I think so too. 508-974-3040 is the call-in. And while we're talking about hoop, let's bounce into the great Celtics. So the Celtics have definitely found something within themselves. The DNA is now mixing. It's gelling. It's working. The game last night, I know Murray didn't play. Was it Murray?
Yeah,
he's
been hurt.
He's been hurt. But they beat him by 20, and it was almost up to 30 points at one point. And it's
still like, listen, you're going into another opponent's
right? They had a great West Coast. They're going to play. I think tonight.
Tonight's the last one of the West Coast.
They should take that against the Thunder team. Is a terrible team.
Yeah, they got no Smart and no Robert Williams.
Yeah, they don't. But I still think that they should be able to beat that team conventionally. And the game, them beating Golden State. And obviously they took care of business last night. I was watching quite a bit of that game. And now what we're seeing, folks, is statistics. And I'm not comparing McHale and Bird to the Jays. What I'm simply saying is, from a statistical perspective,
yes,
they're doing things that those two guys were doing in the 80s. And maybe, just maybe, we're seeing a 3.0 because you had Havlicek in the 70s. And I'm just saying that they're playing and they're putting up numbers that are getting comparable to what was going on in the 80s. I'm not saying that they're the 80s. Obviously, they would have to win at least 3 championships, right? I know, clearly. What I'm simply saying is it's starting to click, and there's a lot of talks about, does Jalen go? Does Tatum go? Does Jalen go? Does Tatum go? Who do we get rid of? And I said, we've been saying this all along, and people maybe are not listening. Something happened with Ime Udoka and that team when they were not playing well, and they were playing selfish, they were playing isolation ball, that it said, hey, if you guys don't unscrew yourselves and start playing my way, I might get fired. We've been saying this for weeks now. And something happened where practice, and Jason Tatum said it last night after the game, repetition on what they're doing. In the practices, there's repetition on boxing out, rebounding, defending. Once again, last night, defending, rebounding, block shots. Even they had a throw in. Denver was going to have a throw in, and it gets blocked. But I think it was either Williams or Tatum. It was just one of those defensive clinics that gets underlooked. And if they keep playing this way, they're going to be a pain in the butt to get through because they're defending, they're rebounding, they're moving the ball. And now there's sharpshooters happening. Now Pritchard is hitting.
Grant Williams.
And Grant Williams, yes, they had a nice little game.
Freaking Grant Williams, who wants to be called Batman on this team.
Yeah, right. And I think Pritchard should be the Dark Knight.
Yeah.
That guy, he got 15 points yesterday. You know how he got his points, folks? 5 for 5 from the 3-point arc. I mean, that's an Eddie House kind of guy.
Yeah.
We don't need to have a special. Come out of the bench, bang threes, we'll set you up and just hit him, and he's hitting them.
And that's what the Celtics have been missing. It's a guy off the bench who could hit a 3 when you need it.
Yep.
And Pritchard's coming. He's coming along.
Yeah, he was always a good shooter, but now he's had some minutes. All I'm saying is they're one game back from the second seed in the East. They're playing good basketball.
I know Philly's not playing tonight. If Celtics win, I believe they overtake that position.
So
it's either the second or third.
All I'm saying is I'll hammer them when they're not playing well. They were not playing well in the beginning. They were like 5 or 6 games below 500, and they deserve to be below 500. And then something like they're 19-3 in the last 22 games.
Listen,
that is not by accident. In the East, I hate to say it, the East is more important than the West.
It is, especially this year.
This year especially, the West has had good situations with some good stories out there. But the Lakers, unfortunately, I think they won yesterday. Today they play the Wizards. I think they won squeaking that out. But they're not really anywhere near where they need to be. Golden State's obviously the team that really concerns me out there is really it's Utah and the Phoenix Suns. Those are the teams that really, really scare me. And they want to knock on the fact of what happened with Steph Curry, with Marcus Smart. Listen, they're playing basketball. I don't think Marcus Smart was trying to hurt anybody.
It's about hustling. And clearly, Curry wasn't hustling in that, and Smart was.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's what happens.
Exactly. So, the Celtics are playing well. Their transition basketball is good. Everyone touches the ball, and there's an all-time confidence with Jason Tatum, especially. He comes out. It seems like every jumper is going in, and it's not even like rimming it; it's just swishing it. So he's feeling it, and he's talking more mature. And maybe it's the beginning of something special here, where they can solidify pieces. Now, Marcus Smart not playing today. I think he's had good moments. Yesterday, he had a couple of moments where it was annoying me. Turned the ball over, got a little sloppy. He's still a player that I would still trade. I hate to say it. I would still trade him because of his asset, but they're not going to let him go now. And now he wants the ball in his handle. So I'm just saying, you live and die with Marcus Smart.
Yeah, but tonight will be a good test to see if they end up putting Derek White in. Because Derek White, they got for him to come off, come off the bench.
And White's had an issue with the shot, but he does much better when he drives.
But he looks to pass first.
He does. He does. And it's been a nice little pickup. I'm not saying it's a wild pickup. It's a nice pickup. So good hoop talk there, folks. And if you want to chime in 508-974-3040. What do you think about the Celtics? We think, we had John on several weeks ago. He thought they could get as high as 3, and they're 3 now. So kudos for John saying that. I wanted them to be in the top 5. I was hoping maybe they get to the 4 seed and get like the first round and play at home.
It's just crazy to think how this team started, and they're on the right on the brisk of getting.
Very simple.
Getting home field, home court advantage.
And what it is psychologically they're in a good place.
They are.
Mentally, they're in a good place, and they've bought into Ime's philosophy.
They have.
So there you have it, folks. We're going to have our guests coming on after the break, and we'll see you on the other end. Don't go anywhere, and we'll take a quick break, and we'll bring in our guests. Talk to you soon.
Black Mamba.
Welcome back, folks, to Comin In Klutch Sports Podcast on the Eric B Media. Monday night, 6:30 to 7:30, and our call-in is 508-974-3040. And as we promised, we were going to have on a very special guest. We have with us Mr. John Garcia. John is here to discuss something very interesting. That it is a sport. It's not a sport that maybe you may not think of. But he's here to talk about foosball. Yes, the foosball that you see when you're drunk and your buddies are trying to play, and you're spinning the ball, and you're trying to get it in, and then someone gets poked in the belly because they don't know what they're doing. But John is here to talk about that, and it'll be fun to talk to him a little bit about that. So, John, welcome, my friend.
Thank you for having me.
No problem.
Great show. A lot of energy.
Yeah.
I like it.
We did have a lot of energy on the show, that's for sure. Yep. So, John, we were talking a little bit, before the show started. Just tell me a little bit about yourself with kind of regards to where you're from, without getting into too many details privately.
Yeah.
And a little bit about yourself,
All right. I won't give you my social security.
No, I don't want that either. I don't want that. I'll get in trouble if I do that.
Yeah. All right. So I'm a local guy. I've lived here basically my whole life. Fall River.
Okay.
I got introduced to playing foosball at the boys club at a young age.
Okay.
It got really competitive there. Like, people want to beat each other up because we used to beat each other, right? And and then it came down playing with money. Every Friday night, Al's Disco. We used to go to Al, the boys club, and usually another player there that was really, really good. I'm going to name his name is Kevin Farias. He was like the prodigy of Fall River and foosball. That kid had unbelievable talent, and I was actually jealous of the way he played, so I wanted to play like him. Yeah. So I got into the game, and then me and him got together, played with each other, and just started whooping butt at the boys club and taking people's money so we could buy food next door at the grinder shop. I think it was called Macucci. No,
Marzilli's?
Macaroni
Macaroni.
shop.
Wow. So folks, it's not illegal gambling. It's just fun entertainment.
Yeah, it was actually fun. Yeah.
No kidding. Good stuff. So when did you decide that foosball you were going to take it to the next level? I mean, we've all probably have messed around with the table. Yeah. When did you decide, at what time did you feel like, I'm going to take this more serious?
Well, it started when I started playing, and then when I was old enough to go into a bar room, they had a table there. Okay. And I used to hang around. My friend owned the bar, and we used to go there and we used to play foosball all the time. So I had a little bit more experience in all of them because I started at the boys club.
Right.
And I started playing, getting more serious. And then they changed the table to a tornado table, which is United States' pro table that everyone plays on. It's called it the hard top, right? Yeah. And so the person who brought it in name was John Baptiste. He's like the grandfather of foosball.
Really? Around the area?
In this area. Everyone knows John Baptiste. And I met him. I hung with him. He taught me the game. I traveled with him, been to Vegas, Texas, New York.
So this tournament.
I was going to say, so there's tournaments all over.
Absolutely.
So this is like table tennis, like ping pong. It's that big.
Yeah, it was actually thought of. They were actually trying to make it an Olympic sport. It came pretty close to becoming an Olympic.
Really? Actually, would have been. I would have watched that.
That would have been fun to watch.
And it's in the process now. So like, there's a team in the United States, and you have to qualify. And they're all going to Nantes, France, to play against Team USA versus Team Germany, Team France, and the best players in the United States go.
Talk to me a little bit about the tables. I've seen some different types of tables. Can you explain a little bit about the different types of tables that were there? Because I remember seeing in some of these local clubs, they had the metal tables. Yeah. One goalie now versus three over the back. Talk to me a little bit about the formation and the table, so the folks can know a little bit about.
Well, a lot of the foosball guys are going to kill me because I don't know all the names of the tables. I know basically the tornado table, but I know of one that's very popular. It's called the Bonzini. That's a European table. So like basically, it's like tennis, like I was telling you before. United States plays on a hard top, right? Yeah. Europe plays on clay or grass, I think, right?
Really?
Is it grass?
Yeah.
And then other countries play on clay. So there's different types of tables that play like that. So United States plays on the hard top, and which is the tornado table. Okay. And it's the most recognizable table, and it's the more popular one because players like Federico from Belgium, one of the all-time best foosball players, used to come to the United States and dominate. Guy just dominated. And I was lucky enough to see him play in Vegas.
Okay.
When I went to Vegas to play, that was the Nationals. That was a $500,000 tournament.
Wow.
And
Big
the Worlds, that's not all one. That's spread out to a lot. You know what I mean? All different. There's like open doubles, pro, singles, rookies, amateurs, semi-pro.
Wow.
Who would have thought that?
So there's different categories.
There's 120 foosball tables in one room.
Holy smokes. And it's all the same type of table.
Yeah, and it's a week-long event.
Are there referees?
Absolutely, yeah.
And you're saying so there's I've seen guys play. So they see that you play the doubles and singles is just you by yourself.
Yeah, you play singles by yourself, then you can play doubles, and you can play open mix, play with a girl. And yeah, even women play. There's amazing women who play this game.
Kidding.
Man, they're unbelievable. Yeah.
How did I used to watch some of the videos once in a while, they pop up, and I would see guys do things on foosball table that was incredible. It was a tornado table where they somehow wedge the ball between players and they pop the ball and they get it in the air. I mean, I'm not a very good player at all. I'm an amateur, but by any stretch. And if I get a decent goal, it's because by luck. But how does that happen? How do they make like those moves and those tricks? Are those trick plays? Is that something that's used during a game?
They don't use it during the game. You'd be foolish if you did, I think.
Right.
My personal opinion.
Yeah.
But there's a kid, the youngest pro player ever to play the game, which his name is Sam DeJean. You can Google YouTube his name.
Okay.
He'll show you. There's a video of him in his basement with all different types of foosball tables from all over the world.
Really?
And
So
he practices.
We have someone commented. Is Garland the name of a table?
Yes, Garland is
another
Germany,
table. Right?
Yep. So not Nino, that's his dad. Sam plays. If you look at his YouTube video, he's playing around, lifting the ball, shooting it, and putting it in the net.
Yeah, crazy.
It's nuts. I mean, I don't practice that because I won't do that in a game.
Exactly.
Because to me, that's a loss of possession. The game is based on possessions. The
Right.
person that has the ball up front the most
is usually the guy that
most likely going to win the game.
And I've seen some really good players. What I thought was really good players, and those players, exactly what you mentioned, John. They maintain possession up front and they control left to right and they mess with the ball. It's almost like they're stepping over the ball, and the guy's just trying to get his defender and goalie in. And you're right. It's somehow the better players, the ball somehow always gets to the front, always. And they can. It's like, how does this guy get the ball there? Yeah. The table is it's perfectly balanced, it's perfectly leveled. So yeah, you're absolutely right. I've seen some of those guys do that. Where they keep it open on the front side.
So John, let me ask you. So obviously, I just played, wherever I can find a foosball table. Is there like a certain score to win? Like, how do you actually win foosball?
Well, yeah, we play up to 5.
Up to 5.
Up to 5. Yeah, we play up to 5. But in tournaments, we play race to 7.
Okay.
2 out of 3. We just had a tournament in New Bedford. We play at Ryan's Sports Billiards.
Okay.
Sports Bar. That's where we play every Saturday night. If anyone that's interested that wants to go out and play, there's a bunch of guys that hang there. There's actually like 2 or 3 guys, 3 guys from Fall River, and the rest are all from New Bedford. And we're all good guys, and we're willing to help and teach people how to play.
Yeah, it's cool.
We're not there to bash them.
No, right. So it was kind of ultimately comes down to people might be asking, well, why are you here? And folks, we bring everyone in that wants to get talk about what they're passionate in. And John's passion is foosball. What is it that you're trying to promote? Is there something that you want to promote, and what is your message out there? If folks are wondering.
Yeah. So there's a team of us. We have a Facebook page. If you want to go on and join it, it's called New England Foosball. So everything that's in New England, from Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine, we add New York stuff to it. I know they're not from New England, but we add them because we travel to New York to play.
Okay.
Those are great players out there. Also great players in Maine and everything. But there's a group of us. There's a team of 3 guys here in this area: Steve Baptiste, Matt Contos, and myself as board of directors. So we have goals. So we set our goals to promote the game.
Okay.
And we're targeting younger crowd, right? I'm 49 years old. A lot of the guys are a little older. We need to bring the younger crowd in to keep the game going.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
And like I said, a 12-year-old just became a pro. The kid probably gets paid $60,000 a year just to play foosball.
Wow.
And winning.
That's
right?
nuts,
and when he
right?
goes,
That's great.
That's great for a kid that
absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that really
tremendous.
When I went to Vegas, I won $1,300. It paid for my whole trip. Right. So we came in as a team quickly. As a team, New Bedford came in as a team second in the world.
Wow.
It was called V for foosball. It was team foosball. So we came in second. It was great accomplishment.
Tremendous accomplishment.
Right?
That's a great
I wanted
kudos.
that jacket. I wanted that ring. You know what I mean?
That is fantastic.
But it didn't happen. We lost. We lost to a team out of California. But so like I said, we're trying to get into schools. There is a program that with a team of sponsors that will sponsor us to help us get that goal. You know, they will supply us with the tables, the rules, videos. They will do everything. And then one of our goals also was to try to get back into the boys club.
Okay. That's where you started.
Yeah, that's exactly where I started.
There's a little bit of personable affection there. So the Boys and Girls Club, if you're listening, you know, you got one of your local root guys that's looking to bring back a sport that was probably happening at one point and maybe fell off a little bit, maybe for lack of interest, perhaps. You know, I think sometimes foosballs are kind of like pool tables. They kind of just sit there and collect dust after a while. But I think it's wonderful, John, that you're looking to bring that back. And what I like about it is your message is we tend to collaborate youth with having to play, you know, with playing sports as playing a sport like that involves, you know, like a baseball, a basketball. Yeah. And this is a sport that has nothing to do with you having to lift weights or eat right, or it's just a matter of you practicing kind of like you practice maybe pool. So if there's someone out there that maybe doesn't feel coordinated enough to play sports,
but you good hand-eye coordination,
but you might have good coordination with hands and eyes and the ability of understanding the technique. And if you don't, but you're interested, you know, you're going to have some of the best guys locally that can teach you from the very beginning, and they're approachable. I think that's a wonderful message.
Absolutely. And like I said, every Wednesday night at my house, I have a team of guys that come. If you noticed on the shirt, it's called 5-0 Club. Okay. So basically, whoever gets beat 5-0 at my house, I have it painted on the wall on a pillar. The name gets put on there, and they have to give New England foosball money, at least $5 to $10.
Oh, there you have it.
So
you better come prepared, or you better
lose money, right?
I haven't gotten beat 5-0 yet.
I'm sure. I'm sure you haven't. I'm sure you haven't.
I can be, but no.
But very rare, probably.
Yeah.
And how do folks get a hold of you? Is it through Facebook?
Yeah, they can contact me through Facebook. John Garcia. I have my own Facebook. New England Foosball, 508 Foosball is another page that I started. So basically, everything happening in 508 area, we're just trying to make it big. We're trying to bring in the kids. Like I said, into schools, you know, get an after-school program. I would personally like to have a football club, rent a place like this, have food, you know, go through all the proper steps where we have to have, you know what I mean, and have just kids come in and play football, get them off the shot.
Yeah, that's a big.
Listen, and we'll get them off playing video games. I see a lot.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And I think that's a big one there is, you know, some kids might be troubled, maybe a little bit lost, maybe they need a little bit of direction. You know, we tend to think that in the city like Fall River, New Bedford, it's more of an urban city. But, you know, there's troubled kids in every urban and rural area. So, you know, don't feel like, oh, it's anyone, you know, that maybe is looking for something and escape out. Maybe, you know, who knows? Maybe they lack motivation. Maybe they're low self-esteem. Maybe there's a bullying situation going on in school. You know, hopefully your program can take off even more and kids can come in, and who knows? Maybe the next kid that walks in wants to be in Sam. You know, who knows?
Yeah, and then if they know that good at foosball and they hear about how good he does in tournaments, they're going to look up after the guy and they say, "Wow, this guy's a talented athlete. You know, he's actually going to become on Team USA."
Amazing.
That's you know,
tremendous.
It's crazy.
So, I guess my other questions regarding like just with the game, what are there like infractions, like things that would be considered like a foul or
there is.
So, what are some of those? I would never think that there would be an infraction.
Well, so basically, on the 3-rod, I call it the 3-rod, is your forward. You have 15 seconds to shoot the ball. As soon as the ball gets on that 3-rod, you have 15 seconds to shoot.
Okay. It's like a shot clock.
Yeah, it's a shot clock. In the middle, you got 10 seconds. The 5-bar is 10 seconds. In the back, I believe. Sorry, I think it's 15 seconds also in the back.
All right. Okay.
So,
all right.
And then when you have the ball up front on the 3-rod, the goalie, when he's trying to play his defense, he can't jar the table. The ball can't move. If the ball moves, it's called a reset.
Oh, I see. Where does that reset go?
it goes stays there, and the guy gets his 15 seconds back.
Oh, I see.
So
okay.
he resets his ball.
So some of these guys I see where they're lifting the ball and banging. That's all illegal.
Yeah, I just was at the Republican Club. A friend of mine who plays with us, very good player, but he's more like he's starting to get more competitive, but he's more like a bar type player. That's what we call him. I went there. He asked me to go there. Hey, come down. There's a bunch of guys who play. Maybe we can. And I was sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
I went down there. I got beat. I mean, they beat me. You know, they were just banging on the table and bending the bars, and I'm just standing still. I'm like, this guy doesn't know where he's shooting, so I'm hoping the ball's gonna hit my guy.
Yeah, my guy, exactly.
So, but I had fun. I was there. I talked to them. I invited them to come up and play on Saturday nights. We drink, not alcohol. You can. They serve alcohol. They have a full menu of food.
Okay.
And we just play, and they love us over there. You know what I mean?
So your main message as far as the objective is just promoting it to the youth.
Yes, absolutely.
And trying to get involved, with schools, and the Boys and Girls Club,
yes.
and kind of create, hopefully, even a club, a foosball club. Absolutely. You've already put some legwork in with, obviously, the Facebook page, folks. So if you're tuning in and you're into the sport, soccer is obviously a big sport, always has been in the city of Fall River. We had Laws and
Benfica.
Yes, there you have another fan, much like myself. That'll be another different talk for a different day. They did beat Ajax 1-0, by the way.
Yes, that's right.
And we did get 10.5 million euros coming back to the coffins. I'll take that. But they got a tough stretch now against Liverpool in a couple of weeks. Yep. But Fall River, Bedford, these areas always had a very big soccer prominence, and foosball is kind of a fun derivative of that. Yeah, so they can get a hold of you, John, through the Facebook is probably the best with messaging you.
Yeah, through my Facebook, New England Foosball or 508. Go on there, like the pages. I'll accept you, because not anyone can join the New England Foosball, because we just want to make it strictly foosball. We put all our videos on there. Okay. There's actually videos on there. This past tournament we ran. There's going to be more videos because we're actually buying a camera like this one.
Okay.
And we're going to start streaming it on a national level. It's called NetFoos, and every tournament in the country and the world get streamed onto there. We're going to, on our Saturday nights, we're going to stream our foosball play.
Awesome.
Just to be recognized,
Perfect.
So we're trying to put ourselves on the map.
Good for you. Good for you. And, folks, there you have it. John, a local guy, a root guy, that's what we like. Trying to preserve a culture, trying to put, Fall River in Massachusetts and the South Coast on the map with foosball, and if you have an interest, and maybe you think, hey, listen, I've been a pretty good player, and I want to be beyond the bar player. Well, now's your chance to take it more serious. So it's an avenue for anyone that wants to either get involved. Maybe they want a new habit. Maybe you're sick and tired of playing poker, or maybe you're sick and tired of playing pool, and you want to try something different.
That's funny when you say that. I'm sorry, but there was a kid from Massachusetts, was the best player in the world, Billy Pappas. He was one of the youngest pros ever. Look him up on YouTube. Crazy. You see him answering his phone, shooting, and scoring without even looking and scoring. Crazy.
Wow.
He became, believe it or not, and I never knew this until I watched World Series of Poker on TV, because he's been to so many tournaments, Vegas and everything. So I was sitting home one day watching World. I used to do it at night, right? Just watching it. Sure enough, I'm like, wow, is that Billy Pappas?
No kidding.
He was on the World Series of Poker, and I heard he won $2 million.
Jesus.
Wow.
From a foosball player to a World Series champ poker player.
Wow.
So it's crazy,
Gifted guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's funny because, I have some folks who do chess clubs.
Absolutely.
And they do those types of things. So this is a similar version. Chess obviously has a lot of mental capacity. There's times and this, and people get involved with those strategies. Well, foosball may have that too.
And it's funny you say that, because believe it or not, I love the game of chess. I don't know how to play it that well.
Me neither.
I wish
I barely do checkers, but
it's funny you say that, because a lot of foosball players play chess.
Really?
Yeah, if you go to tournaments, there's chess tables, and they just play chess when they're waiting to play. It's funny you say that.
I wonder if that's part of therapy
strategy,
or part of strategy, and maybe getting your head in the game and so forth. So
yeah.
Wonderful stuff. If anyone wants to call in or chime in, we got John for a couple more minutes. You can call in at 508-974-3040 if you have any specific questions with foosball specifically. And that's what we look here, folks. We look to have those local folks with great talent. And I think playing foosball, much like playing table tennis or ping pong or even pool, I think those types of games require tremendous skill and practice to be very good at. Anyone can put a ball inside of a pocket, or anybody could probably score a foosball or maybe play a little bit of ping pong. But if you're really good at it, I personally always gravitate to people who perfect or try to perfect a craft. I think that's super, super cool and very noteworthy. So any last words, John, you want to take on?
No,
and
I just hope that, like you said, the boys club can listen to what we were just talking about, and I would be, and I'm going there eventually to go talk to the directors there and probably present it. I'll even give up and buy a table for them. I have a table that I'm going to start working on as more of a home model. I just went all the way to New Hampshire to buy it, and I'll be willing to donate the table to them. And if they don't have a tornado table there, which I don't think they do, because from a distance driving by it, I don't see the table.
Yeah.
I would refurbish that table, make it, it's a home model, but it's a tornado table.
Okay.
It's built for the home, and I'll put it in there. And, I'm, like I said, we're willing to expand. We want to grow. We want the young youth to come in and just stop playing foosball.
And that's all it takes is once you get them a table, that's it.
Yeah.
That's all it takes. Really, that's it.
Yeah.
That's what it took with me. I loved the game as soon as I started playing.
There you have it, folks. Good stuff. Well, John, thank you so much for coming on.
You guys.
We loved having you on. It was a
Appreciate
great talk. Anytime you're welcome in our station. So, folks, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll come back for our last several segments. And don't go anywhere. We'll talk to you soon. Welcome back, folks, to Comin In Klutch on the Eric B Media platform, 6:30 to 7:30 Monday nights for all your sports heads and for your sports editions of Comin In Klutch. And we are back. Kobe, what a great what a great class that guy, John, huh?
Yeah, awesome.
I mean, let me tell you, man, really stand-up guy, has a passion for his sport. I learned quite a bit, and folks, chime in on that. Get on his page, like his page. If you're into foosball, that's the time to do it. I didn't know it existed, but it's definitely
But he's right, though. I mean, think about it. If you don't want to train hard in the gym,
yeah,
do all that stuff.
Yeah,
you got foosball.
You got foosball. Yeah, you got foosball that you can do, and it's something that requires obviously practice like everything else.
Exactly.
But you know what? Instead of you having to buy equipment and stuff, John's going to provide you what you need. You got to have the desire to want to do it. So 508-974-3040 is our call-in, and we're going to shift some gears, and we're going to talk a little bit about free agency. The NFL free agency is hot and heavy. Kobe, there's been a lot of moves kind of going on over the last, couple of days, even the last couple of hours. So my question to you is what move are you surprised about? And which one do you think makes the most sense? Like, which one were you surprised about, and which one do you think was a really good one?
I don't know, because I'm trying to think, to be honest with you. I don't know if there was anything really that stuck out. It's like, maybe even today, Matt Ryan going to Indy.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden, Indy's better than the Pats.
Yep. That was the big one, too, that surprised me as well. I was like, that one kind of shocked me. Not because I didn't think Matt Ryan wanted to leave, because it looked like he was on the verge of leaving. But I didn't think they gave up a ton.
I think it was like a third-round pick.
And again, if people are going to tell me that they want, Matt Ryan versus Mac Jones. I mean, Matt Ryan, had an MVP year. He did get to the Super Bowl. He's a Boston College guy, so people have criticized others about, well, just because he's a local guy doesn't mean he wants to come here. So I'm okay with not taking on.
Yeah, but let me ask you this: do you think Indy has definitely take that next step now that they have Matt Ryan?
I don't know. I mean, I think he's a better quarterback than Carson Wentz in some degree. I think he has a more polished skill set.
Yes,
but I don't know, man. Matt Ryan kind of chokes.
Yeah, but think about it. Matt Ryan had some ballers as wide receivers in Atlanta, and they didn't do much.
Right, and so I think there's moments when he makes mistakes. I think he just, he's an average quarterback. He's an average quarterback. He's a pro. He made it. He's been a serviceable guy, and that's great. I mean, that's great that he's been able to be a serviceable guy. But I don't know. I mean, I wasn't ever really high on him. He was a Boston College guy, and they gave him the nickname Matty Ice, and that one surprised me. With him, going to Indy, I mean, they don't need a lot there. I mean, let me back up. Their defense is fine. They have a great running back, probably one of the best in the game. I don't really think they have a great receiving core, and maybe Matt Ryan puts him over the top.
I mean, I guess we'll find out. I mean, just like if you look at the AFC West, it has changed greatly.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. Those teams are going to beat each other up. And as good as those teams are, not everyone's going to make the playoffs.
No, not at all. And I will tell you, I don't know about which one. The one that I loved the best was Davante Adams. I love that. Here's the Green Bay Packers, thinking that they're going to lock in Aaron Rodgers, and he gets a 3-year, $50 million a year, $150 million.
I think it's fully guaranteed.
And I think it is, if it's not, it's pretty damn close. And Davante Adams buys a $12 million mansion. And he's going to Vegas to go play with his homeboy, Derek Carr, who played at Fresno freaking State.
Isn't that crazy? Homeboy.
That is crazy. So that move was a little bit of a kick in the junk to show how much of a dink Aaron Rodgers is.
Yeah, but see, this is what I can't understand is everyone's quick to trash the Patriots, especially Felger.
Especially post Brady.
But this is Felger's team here, right?
Yeah.
It's his beloved Green Bay Packers. And I know I had this conversation with you off here. So it's okay for the Packers to waste a prime first-round pick on Jordan Love.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. And pay first-round pick money.
Pay first-round money, and then go and re-sign Aaron Rodgers again for a shit ton of money. And Jordan Love's still sitting behind him for another 3-4 years.
3-4, yeah.
So you're paying 2 big contracts for quarterbacks.
Yeah.
They could have used that pick on somebody else that could have actually helped that team.
And if the Patriots had done something like that, I think there would be criticisms about that.
Of course they would have.
Oh, you got a first-round pick, and now you just signed a quarterback for that long, and when is this guy going to play? And when are we making the transition? There might have been some that may have thought that was a good successor situation. Here's the thing: what difference does it make if Tom Brady is here, and let's say they drafted a Mac Jones, versus Mac Jones just starting and Tom Brady moving on? And people are going to say, well, it's because Tom Brady is still playing at a high level. Well, he was playing at a high level last year, and he won 2 years ago. But he's also going to be 45. And at some point, things might start crumbling a bit. And eventually you were going to go to your successor, which would have been Mac Jones. They just sped up the process, and they just did believe in having Brady here, for that kind of money. And that was it. And more times than not, they are usually spot on with these things, and they get rid of players at the right time.
Exactly. I mean, think about it. So what? The Pats are going to give Brady $30 million. So then they give Brady $30 million. What are they going to have left? What are they going to spend?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And they've shaved off.
You can't have your cake and eat it too.
Right, and they're shaving money off right now, and there's they're looking at having over $100 million next year, and free cap space. But by them shaving off things now, so they can't keep spending every year. It's not feasible. It doesn't make a ton of sense to do that.
And again, I know people are all kind of mad because the Pats kind of, I guess you can say, are sitting out free agency in 2022. But a theory that I heard floated that kind of does make sense is the compensatory picks. The Pats are known for getting those comp picks, and Bill Belichick loves getting those comp picks because that's kind of his bread and butter right there.
Yep,
that's where he makes his money.
Right,
that's what he's moving in deals or he's using them.
Yeah.
And because they signed all these free agents, you don't get these comp picks anymore.
Exactly.
So that's a theory I heard, and I get it. It's frustrating as a Pats fan. You probably don't want to hear that, but at the same time, don't you want this team to get younger? I mean, that's
the biggest gripe.
Exactly.
They're too slow on defense.
You want them to get younger, or you want them to spend money?
Exactly. And we need to get, and folks, as fans, you got to get on one bandwagon on the other. Which one is it going to be? Are you going to be a fan that wants to see the youth and see what's going to happen next? Or are you looking to just spend a boatload of money on a bunch of free agents, which has typically not been a great formula for winning? I know the Rams solidified that and kind of changed that last year, but that doesn't happen very often. 508-974-3040. I will say this. I will say that the AFC West is competitive, much more competitive than what it was, and needed to be competitive because they got Pat Mahomes there. So they're stepping up to the challenge of what that division is. As far as I'm concerned, we need to be better than the Buffalo Bills.
That's it.
We need to focus on our backyard, not everyone else's backyard. And the other backyards are obviously imperative. The Baltimore is still there. Cincinnati. But people.
But Baltimore hasn't really made any.
What's annoying to me is they haven't done much. But the Patriots, the Pittsburgh Steelers, rather. Now people are almost trying to say, yeah, that move of Mitch Trubisky. Are you serious? Mitch Trubisky.
I don't see it. I don't see it. Maybe he'll shock us, but I don't see it.
Juju's gone. And he went off. He went off to be a supplemental piece to already a really good team. And I just need the Pats to focus on themselves and being competitive and how they can beat the Bills. Because if they can be competitive in the division, they hopefully can be competitive in getting into the playoffs. And then let's see what happens.
And then even today, I heard them, people criticizing the Pats for bringing in Leonard Fournette. Listen,
but he was fine to go last year.
Exactly. But listen.
2 years ago.
Listen, so say you sign Leonard Fournette, right? So you have Fournette, Harris, Stevenson as like your bruises.
James White, third down
and
guy.
Clearly, listen, I love Damian Harris probably more than most people. But Harris seems to get injured a lot.
He does.
So
the hammies.
You can't just bank on Damian Harris.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if you want, because Belichick's clearly this is the type of football he wants to play. Why not go get another bruiser to add to that?
Yep. Yeah, and Leonard Fournette has gotten his ring,
and he can catch the ball.
Yep, he's gotten his ring, and he's coming in for a visit. And if you're against that situation, and you were a Brady fan that became a Tampa Bay fan, now you're being a hypocrite because he was down there already for a couple of years.
Speaking of Tampa Bay, did you hear what they're doing for the season ticket holders?
No, I did not. Enlighten me.
To be a season ticket holder down there, you must commit to 3 years, not just 1 year.
Oh.
I wonder why they did that. And the other thing that I heard today is the only way you can get lower bowl season tickets is if you are a Florida resident.
Oh, well, what I'm seeing there with the Glazers is that they're trying to, bank on the fact that Tom Brady won't be there probably after this year, but yet they're going to lock you in when they suck after Brady leaves.
I just want to throw that out there because, we have a lot of Pats fans that watch
Tampa Bay. Yeah. Yep, they do. So, I mean, we'll see how they unravel. Clearly, they became a good team again because of Brady coming back. We know that. But as far as, them being competitive, yeah, they should be competitive still. And we'll see if they'll keep it all together. It seems like they have. But I don't know.
And another thing I want to get off my chest real fast, too, is the narrative that Belichick and Brady hate each other. If Belichick hated Tom Brady, like the media portrays, why did he just trade Shaq Mason for a 5th-round pick to the Tampa Bay Bucks to help Tom Brady? That's what I want to know.
Yeah. Folks, if you have a question or an answer to that, 508-974-3040. I felt the same way when I saw Shaq Mason move on. He's been one of our better offensive linemen, homegrown, and he goes to Tampa Bay of all places. He could have sent him anywhere.
So clearly there isn't that bad blood there.
You know, people like that drama because they're still upset about Bray leaving. You know, there's a lot of other great moves that happened. A lot of, you know, interesting moves that had kind of unraveled. The Pats, not so much. As I said, I like the Devontae Adams move going over there to Vegas. I think he needed to leave there. I like the fact that now Rodgers may not have a solidified weapon for himself. I like the fact.
Who does Rodgers have?
Yeah, I like. Yeah,
because Scantling's out. He's a free agent, and there were rumors that the Pats were looking at him.
Right.
And I haven't heard any rumors about him re-signing in Green Bay.
Me either. I like the fact that Baker Mayfield just got basically blocked by having the Deshaun Watson coming out of nowhere. There's Cleveland throwing a boatload of money and giving him basically the keys to Cleveland. They might as well have given the same keys to him that they gave to LeBron James.
Hey, listen, can I say it's funny that Deshaun Watson didn't want any part of Cleveland, and then Cleveland came knocking, but like, hey, we'll give you $230 million.
Okay, you're good.
I'll change my
mind.
I
changed my mind. I am a Cleveland guy. I like that orange, blank, vanilla-looking helmet.
But even that doesn't make sense. So you go get Watson. Okay, you got Amari Cooper, but why would you get rid of Jarvis Landry? Why wouldn't you keep that guy?
I don't think they like Jarvis Landry much.
But think about it. Watson needs people to throw to.
Yeah, he does.
Landry's that guy's money.
You know? I thought so too. But there was something about him in Cleveland and I think Baker was a big part of that problem.
Because it's Cleveland.
Maybe, and what's the excuse now, Cleveland? You got to be somewhat relevant. You got the running back, you got the receiver, you got the quarterback. Your tight end's actually pretty good as well. And my question is, where does Baker Mayfield go now? Where is his destination? This is the guy that, was a 1st-round pick overall. He was a guy that always thought he was better than what he was. Talks a good talk, but never really produced like he was supposed to. They were 8-9 last year. Where does he go?
I think his best year was his rookie year.
I thought so too. I thought so too. Where does he go? Does he go to Houston? No. Does he go?
Maybe Seattle.
Maybe. So I don't know exactly where his place. He'll find a place somewhere. I like him to be somewhere where he would die on the vine, like maybe the Giants. It would be nice. But we have other teams like Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson's staying, folks, with the Jets. I don't see them talking about wanting to get rid of him. And he had a much less year, a much more terrible year than Mac Jones. He's staying.
And what about Tua? Everyone is trashing Tua and how the Dolphins are stupid. Well, guess what? They still have Tua.
He's still there.
Why did they go get Watson? Remember, there was all this talk that he was going to go to Miami.
Yeah, Miami.
How come he didn't go to Miami?
Yep.
Miami wasn't even in it.
No, they weren't. They weren't in the talks. How about the Denver move? Them grabbing Russell Wilson and getting him out of Seattle.
Listen,
he needed to get out of there.
Listen, he does. And me and you obviously like Russell Wilson.
I do.
But again, they're already anointing the Denver Broncos to be like a Super Bowl favorite. But what I want to see is Russell Wilson play a healthy year because he hasn't played a healthy year in a while.
He hasn't.
I mean, think about it. He got injured last year, right? I think he got injured the year before.
He did. He has not had a full year.
So let's see how Russell Wilson adapts to Denver. I mean, Denver has a good team, but again, Denver's going to run on its quarterback. I don't know who the backup is now, but you know what I'm saying? Like, he needs to stay healthy.
And being at Mile High, there is an altitude thing going on there. I'm sure he'll have to adjust for a little bit. But and Denver has some young talent with the receivers. They have they have
Jerry Jeudy.
Judy and they have the other guy Sutton. Yep, Cortland Sutton. Yep. And these are guys that were drafted. They were homegrown. That came from from the draft. So Denver should be better. They should be better. I think that defense still leaves a lot to be desired. I think there's a lot of issues and a lot of holes there. And I still think a good defense can win you games. And we saw that last year when the Pats were flying high on that defense and helping the quarterback out. 508-974-3040. We have several minutes here. And, if you want to talk about free agency, bring in whatever talks you want. But I think there's been a lot of moves, a lot of big quarterback moves, which tells you it is a quarterback league. We know that. And I just feel like we need to give our quarterback a little bit of a chance to figure out if he's going to be okay or not. I just need a little bit more of a sample. And if you want to just get rid of him now, well, you weren't going to get Deshaun Watson for $238 million. You were never going to be in the hunt for Denver because you were never going to be in the hunt for Russell Wilson. Here's why. He was a restricted free agent, and he called the shot to where he wanted to go.
Exactly. And
They were not exactly. They were not on the radar. So if you wanted to come to the Patriots, you would have said something. Maybe they would have been involved. Why the Pats going to go talk to a player who wants nothing to do with the Patriots anyway? But specifically after he lost to a Super Bowl here. You know, Russell Wilson kind of comes across as a guy who is going to keep those grudges.
Right.
So I don't see how that was going to be a possible solution. It didn't matter what you were going to throw his way because he was never going to come here anyway. So we need to be very thorough when we're looking at this.
What can I say? You know, on the Patriots front, you know, they.
Yeah, 2 years.
And listen, if Trent Brown can stay healthy, he's solid.
When he's healthy. Yep.
You know.
So there you have it, folks. You know, our free agency talk. You know, we'll see what other moves. You know, the Pats been a couple of small moves. They got Ty Montgomery and they brought him in. There was some news that came across that apparently Edelman.
That video is old.
That's an old video.
Don't let Tom Brady fool you.
There you have it. I saw something come through.
That's Brady doing Brady things.
Yeah.
Don't get me started, please.
508-974-3040. And we want to wrap up with some hockey talk.
Can I say something, though?
Yeah.
What if Edelman comes back? And that's been the plan all along.
Would you take him back?
Of course I would take him back. If he's healthy and he wants to come back and play for the one team that he's always loved, I would do it.
I think I would as well, just because of him being homegrown and what he can help solidify. And I think he can still make some catches. Just that slot position is such a brutal position. And he's done a great job so far. But, you know, with his career and how he came out of it and everything. But I just feel like it's one of those things where, you know, 35 years old, that's a lot of years, you know, for a guy, you know, and that's it. But I would definitely take him. I would definitely take him in a heartbeat.
I mean, and there's still plenty of good players available, you know,
with his career.
And so, I mean, who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? But, you know, think about even some of the receivers that, you know, are available in the draft. I mean, you don't have to go get one of these guys in the first round. I mean, I'd love to go see, like I keep telling you, John Mechie from Alabama is available. He played with Mac Jones. So why not get someone like that in a second or third round that's familiar with Mac Jones and have them build?
And that's kind of been a kind of a staple kind of situation. That's been a little bit of a formula where you get you get that guy coming in, you know, that you played with in college, you know, and maybe that's what winds up happening there.
And then I still think Jonnu Smith's going to be better than what he did last year.
He's got to be. I got Roy chiming in. You know, with the Bills. Yep, the Bills have a great quarterback, and people are definitely, you know, titling him as being a great quarterback. I want to see what happens without Brian Dable. Exactly. And same thing I can say about the Patriots. I want to see what happens without
Josh McDaniels.
You know, so we'll see what happens with that. The Bruins are on. They've already started, and they are, I believe, already beating the pathetic Habs, the Montreal Canadiens, who should be playing Division 10 hockey. Boy, are they a hot mess down, you know, in Montreal. Oh my goodness, they are a hot mess. But the Bruins are up 1-0. Marshy has scored the goal, so they're up 1-0. And the Bruins made some moves, and I got excited because finally we have a defenseman who can defend, move the puck, and eat up minutes. And that, Kobayas, is what we need.
I like that, Kobayas.
Yes, that is what we need as a fan watching hockey when things get hot and heavy in the playoffs. Defenders who can eat minutes and not concede goals and help their goalie to play on their head.
And, you know, one thing I heard about the criticism today, Lindholm isn't what's the word? An aggressor, I guess you can say. But you know what? At the end of the day, you don't need to be an aggressor. All you need to do is get that puck the hell out of the zone.
He's been a quality defender for a long time. Don't get fooled about, you know, the goals, because you know what, Chara wasn't a crazy goal scorer either.
No, he never was.
And he came in here and he became a champion, and he came in here and made that team competitive. And he is. I still take him over my guy, fucking whoever, you know, you know, whoever that guy, Forsberg, whatever, he sucks. You know, that should be his name. You know, we should take that F and change it to something else, as in blank sucks. So that's who that should be. But I'm happy with the move. Most likely, and I know people say, "Well, they already signed them, you know, and they already gave him $8 million, you know, 8 years for 54, whatever it was, 45 million, or whatever.
I believe a year.
First of all, the average value is good value, and when Chara came here, They gave him like a 10 or a 13-year or 15-year contract. Players like that, you got to give him. I know he was going to be a free agent. You were probably not going to get him for that kind of dollar. It might have been a little even more than that. So I'm fine with them. Sign the paperwork. He's proven that he's a solid defenseman. He comes from Sweden, which is a good hockey country that provides good talent. He's got good size. He's comfortable back there. He has a longer stick than McAvoy, and that is important.
You're right.
In the back, he's been healthy. He's played minutes. He's played ice time. He's played games, and I think it was a good move. And they needed to make a move there. I would have loved to see them get something up front, maybe get a second center. I still think that's what they need, but I like the move. DeBrusk got signed today. So for those of you like myself who thought maybe he was going to go bye-bye, he didn't go bye-bye. He stayed. Concerns me a little bit, because I don't want there now to be a contract, and now he winds up going back to return into a pumpkin, because he's been Cinderella, and he has shined the last several games, and then he has a little bit of a rut, and he said he wanted to stay. There was a conversation in a text exchange between Don Sweeney and him, and I just hope that we don't get burned. Now, there could be some things that happen down the road where if he doesn't pan out, and they can, much like what happened with Hampus, is that the Canucks, the Anaheim Ducks are eating up 50% of that contract. So, but that's not good business. I don't think you want to be in the business of sign a player and get rid of him because he's not doing well and pay for half of it. So, DeBrusk being here, he's played his way into a contract. I personally still would have moved on from him and see if I can get an offensive piece.
They couldn't find a suitor for him, unfortunately.
I don't think there was a good enough package that came back for Jake.
Well, would you have just traded him just to trade him? Or?
No, I would have traded him to get something. I mean, I'm not saying I want to get a top end stuff, but trade him for something. It can't be like something that's a bag of nothing. It needed to be something more solidified. So, the Bees are still playing some good hockey. They're still very relevant. They're playing tonight, obviously. Marshy's already in there with a goal. They're playing at the Bell Center. And the Bruins made moves that I think they needed. It wasn't a complete moves, but there were some big moves that were involved. And the guys that gave up, Vekkainen and in the field, a couple of other guys, those are guys that they gave up some draft picks. So they believe in Hampus, in Lindholm. They believe in him. So I'm good. I'm good with the move. I think it's a good move. I don't think they should be paired up together. I think I want to see him on a second line and Charlie in the first, and kind of get that balance the way you have.
Yeah, see what happens. Try it out. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
Work, mix and match, but give it a try, right?
Right, definitely. So 508-974-3040. We have a few more minutes, and we were able to go a little bit beyond our normal time clock. So hopefully you've enjoyed the show tonight for all you sports heads. It gives us a couple more minutes to go into a couple.
To be a Boston fan right now.
Well, I mean, I think in the sense of us making some moves, as fans and watching the teams trying to make moves, even though the Sports Hub doesn't feel like the moves are relevant, but they are making moves. And the Bees made some moves. The Celtics are on the move, and they're on fire. And we're and we obviously have.
And you got the Sox.
The Sox.
Sox training right now.
Exactly. Yeah, they are. And they put it. They are. So they're 5-0 or whatever. They won 5-0 today. So, so there you have it, folks. As always, check us out next week. We'll be here 6:30 to 7:30. Always, chime in with whatever you want to talk about with regarding to sports. And as always, the podcast is being brought to you by the great folks at Troy City Mortgage, and of course their partners over at the Walsh Title and Closing, working together to bring you the best home buying experience. The folks at Troy City Mortgage is the best place to get a mortgage in Massachusetts and Rhode Island, led by the great Dave Pereira. And the team at Troy City Mortgage have local roots, deep knowledge, and expert solutions to get you the best mortgage possible. Give them a call at 508-207-5864, 508-207-5864. And, of course, the great folks at the Walsh Title and Closing for all those closing needs and all those documents needed that it could be a pain in the butt during closing. They will take care of you. 508-858-5725, 508-858-5725. Colby, any last
I just want to say thank you to the people that were watching today, people that were chiming in. Without them, we probably wouldn't be here.
Exactly.
We definitely, and keep chiming in. That's what we like to see, and we'll try to get to everybody. And the last thing I want to say is go Friars.
Yep, they're playing Friday night, folks. And if you're watching the March Madness and you're looking at your brackets, and some of your brackets may have been busted because of some upsets with Baylor and Kentucky being the biggest ones. But hopefully some of you are still hanging tight. I have my 4. Though I didn't play, but someone asked me Final 4. I wanted to pick Gonzaga, Arizona, UCLA. I did pick Kansas, but of course I would love to have my prediction to be incorrect.
Listen, I'd love to see the Final 4 matchup of Villanova and PC.
Oh,
to go at it. The winner goes to the national championship. That's my dream scenario. Who knows if it will happen? But hey, you can only hope. Right?
They're still in the hunt. So there you have it, folks. Hope you enjoyed the show. Chime in. Next time, hopefully.
Thanks, John. Thanks for coming on, buddy.
And all the folks who chimed in and gave us your thoughts. We'll be here. We're talking sports, and we will see you next week. I'm Nelly, and we are out.